Hello YouTube yogis, Emma here. This is going to be a no props yin class. Now obviously I have access to a lot of blocks, but I understand that maybe at home people don't have access to props or you might not have access to props, and most yin classes are done with props. Now I also know that you can always find props around your house, like pillows, rolled up blankets, but for the purpose of this video, we're gonna do a yin class with no props. Of course, if you wanna add props, please feel free. Let everything I say be a suggestion, not a requirement. So let's begin on our backs in Supta Gasana, bottoms of the feet to touch and the knees out wide. You can bring your hands to your belly, or you could put your right hand on your belly, left hand on your heart. The further your feet are away from you, you'll feel a little bit less intensity, closer, more. If this is altogether too intense, just bend your knees, put your feet flat, and let the knees fall in towards each other in more of a knock knee shape. So you gotta choose what works for you. You might slide your shoulder blades so they're flat underneath you. It's normal to have a little arch in your back in Supta Gasana, so just let that remain there. Close your eyes. Take a moment to notice the points of contact you have with the ground. So maybe the outer blades of the feet, glutes and the tailbone, shoulder blades and the upper back, back of your skull, the elbows and the triceps. I feel sort of a heaviness in your body, like a sinking or melting sensation. Allow the pressure of the mat at those points of contact to kind of soften your body. It's almost like butter melting on a hot pan, feeling very solid, and then allowing yourself to melt and let go. And can you let that melting sensation spread to all the other parts of your body that might not be touching the ground? So the inner thighs, the abdomen, the palms, the forearms, the chest. While we're here in Supta Gasana, or whatever position you're in on your back, we'll take a few rounds of box breathing. Begin to empty your lungs completely. Together, draw an inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that at the top for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Hopefully your mind feels a little bit clearer than when you first rolled out your mat. And if the thoughts are still bouncing around, I'd like you to just focus on the sensation of the breath, the rise and fall of your belly, your chest. Imagine a worry or a thought dissolving with every exhale. And take your arms out wide. If you don't have space, cactus bend your arms instead. Close the knees like a book. And then wiggle walk the feet outward so you're in more of a knock knee shape. Let the knees fall in towards each other. Let your spine feel flatter on the ground. And then start to windshield wiper your knees side to side, nice and slow. So not in a rush. Let the body move at whatever pace feels good. And then the next time the knees are over to the right side, pause there. Outer right thigh on the ground, inner left knee going towards the ground. You should feel a little stretch, maybe through the low back on the left side, down your left IT band, front of the left hip. Take a deep, full breath in, feel your belly rise. And breathe out, feel your belly fall. You're more than welcome to stay exactly as you are right here, or place your right foot on top of your left thigh for a little bit more intensity down the outer left leg. Now, it's not so much of the right foot pushing down, you're just letting the weight of the right foot kind of help sink the left knee towards the ground. So less effort, more ease, let gravity do the pose for you. Take a breath in, imagine breathing all the way down to your left knee. Exhale completely. Again, breathe all the way down to your left knee. Exhale completely. Let the left shoulder blade remain heavy on the ground while we take 3 more breaths. Keep your right ankle over your left thigh if it's there. Start to draw your knees to center into figure 4 pose. Now, to make this super relaxing, you can just keep your left foot on the ground and let the right knee kind of fall forward. If you want to make it a little bit more intense, you can draw the left knee in towards you, maybe grabbing behind the left hamstring. How about the outer right thigh, outer right knee going forward? The right foot is flexed. Feel free to rock side to side or draw some circles around the tailbone. Take 1 or 2 more breaths here in your figure 4 pose. Release the left foot to the ground if it's not there already. Release the grip with your hands. Your right knee finds your right armpit, half happy baby pose. Take your right hand and grab the outer right foot. Keeping the left knee bent with the foot flat is a great way to start. If you do want a little bit more intensity here, you can extend that left leg straight. I like the left hand on the left thigh just to help keep it firm and planted. But again, this is more of a yin class, so you don't need to really firm up this bottom leg. You want it heavy and sinking into the ground, but try to find a little bit less like action. So you don't need to flex the foot and stamp the heel forward like I might usually say. Let that left leg be a little bit more relaxed. You can also take the left arm out to the left. That's with the palm down. Sometimes helps to act as a counterbalance as well. Do your best to keep your tailbone on the ground, both shoulder blades on the ground. Very slight tuck of the chin so the back of the neck is long. Breathe here. Last 2 breaths. Rebend the left knee if it's not already. Wrap your right leg on top of your left leg and then pull your knees towards you. Grab your outer shins to start like a Supta Gasana, and then you can reach further down for the ankles if you prefer. Now personally, I do think it feels best to flex the feet here, but that's really up to you. You can just let the feet flop. You could flex the feet. Think about pulling your feet a little bit in towards you. You should feel a stretch through the outer right hip, the right piriformis muscle, maybe even down the right IT band. Try to take the arch out of the low back by pushing the low back down. Feel the tailbone almost scoop forward. Take 3 more breaths here. Shoulder blades heavy, relax your jaw too. Last breath. Keep the legs crossed, but release the grip with your hands. You can even put the left foot on the ground and take the arms out wide. Let your knees fall over to the left and then gaze off to the right. Wrapping up the legs is a great way to get a deeper twist without putting too much effort into it. So you don't need to really engage, just kind of soften the inner thighs. You're letting the weight of that left leg help keep the right knee down or sinking. It might feel nice to slide your left shoulder blade a little bit to the left so the shoulder blades feel flatter on the ground. Let your right ear feel like it's weighted towards the ground. Feel a gentle stretch down the left side of your neck. Breathe. Last 3. Last 2. Last breath here. Slowly bring your knees back through center and unwind your legs. Put your feet flat on the ground, arms by your side. You're gonna lift up into a really gentle bridge pose. So even just lift the hips like 1 or 2 inches, like a few centimeters, and then kind of sway the hips side to side. So really barely lifting the hips off the ground. You're more lifting up the tailbone so that you can scoop the tailbone forward and then put the low back on the ground. So your low back is flat on the ground, no arch. Take the arms out wide and windshield wiper the knees side to side once again. Moving slow, no rush. The next time the knees are over to the left, pause there. Feel like the inner right thigh is weighted towards the ground. You might like to look off to the right or just let the back of the skull feel heavy. And imagine breathing all the way down into your right knee. You are more than welcome to stay exactly right here, or you can put that left foot on the outer right thigh. Again, not pushing so much, just using the weight of the left leg to help sink the inner right knee. Feel a gentle stretch kind of around the outer right hip, down the outer thigh, maybe even through the low back. Unclench your jaw, let the shoulder blades remain heavy on the ground. Deeper, longer inhales.
Breathing all the way into the front of the right knee. And breathing all the way out. 3 more breaths here. Last 2. Last 1. Now keep the left ankle over the right thigh if it's there. Bring your knees back through center. You can definitely just put your right foot flat on the ground and relax in this figure 4 shape. Or you can pull the legs in towards you, clasping the back of the right leg. Make sure the left toes are flexed just a little bit even. I like to rock gently side to side, kind of massage around the tailbone. If that feels good, go for it. If not, just find stillness. And then minimize the arch of the cervical spine, your neck area, by softly tucking your chin. Feel the back of your neck lengthen. Last 3 deep breaths. One more. And then slowly begin to release, putting that right foot on the ground. If it's not already, half happy baby pose. Your left hand will grab the inner or outer left foot. If that doesn't work out, grab the ankle or behind the knee. Keeping the right knee bent is a great place to start. You're always welcome to start here and move on. You don't have to decide right away. If or when you're ready, you can extend your right leg straight and let it be kind of heavy, a little bit less effort than I might say in a normal class that I would teach. The right hand can rest on the right thigh, or you can kind of put the right arm out to the right with the palm down as a counterbalance. It's easy to kind of roll to the left side and let the right hip or right shoulder blade lift. So just do your best to keep everything heavy and sinking. You should feel a stretch here, maybe the left hip, left hamstring, maybe even through the front of the right leg, especially if it's straight. As you breathe in, feel your belly, your left rib cage expand into the left thigh. As you breathe out, feel your belly, your lungs deflate, like the belly button sinks down towards the spine. 3 more breaths. Last one. Begin to bend your right knee if it's not already. Wrap your left leg over top your right leg. Pick up your feet, grab your shins, ankles, or the outer edges of the feet for like a Supta Gasana. Start with the shins. You can kind of relax the feet, or you can flex the feet. You should feel a stretch through the outer left hip, left piriformis, maybe even down the left IT band. Feel free to adjust the grip. You are never stuck where you land, especially when we're in these poses for a long time. Feel free to adjust if you don't like where you start out. Relax your jaw and your face. Imagine breathing into those areas of tightness or discomfort. Last 3. 2. One more breath. Release that grip. Take the arms out wide. You'll drop the knees over to the right and gaze off to the left. You might even slide your right shoulder blade so it's flat underneath you. And then relax the legs. So less effort, less squeezing. The weight of the right leg on that outer left calf just kind of helps sink the left leg a little bit closer to the ground. Again, you're always welcome to adjust the pose. Let your left ear feel weighted towards the ground. Relax the muscles in your face. The eyelids can feel really heavy here. And imagine breathing all the way down into the bottom of your left lung, maybe even deeper into your left hip, your left knee. Follow that breath all the way back out. 3 more here. One more deep breath. Unwind onto your back. Plant your feet and then lift your hips like 1 inch, just a few centimeters. Sway the hips a little bit side to side. Maybe even feel a little release in the low back. And then lower the hips back down. Grab the back of your knees. You can rock up or roll to one side up to a seated position. We're going to cross directly over the ankles into a tabletop. From your tabletop, going right to puppy pose, walking the hands forward, putting the forehead down. You could even kind of mount the forearms to the mat here to make this a little bit more restorative. Personally, I think it feels better on the shoulders to keep the arms straight, even though it does require a little bit more effort. Melt your spine in behind your heart. It depends what works best for you. You might like to bring your chin to the mat. If that feels just too intense, go ahead and return the forehead to the ground. If you feel more relaxed here, then stay. Always feel free to separate the hands a little bit wider. That'll give a little bit more space for the shoulders. Breathe all the way into your hip crease beneath your belly button. And breathe all the way out. Last 3. Feel a stretch, a lengthen through your sides. 2. Last 1. Begin to slide yourself onto your belly. Keep the forearms down, Sphinx pose. Pull your chest gently through and plug the shoulders back. Bring your right ear towards your right shoulder and draw some really slow circles with your neck. Like you have a marker on your nose and you want to draw those circles as big as you possibly can. And then go the other direction.
Meet with a neutral spine. Take your hands out a little bit wider, your feet out a little bit wider. Push into your hands, find seal pose. You're straightening the arms, pinning the shoulders back. Feel a really nice stretch through your abdomen. If this is too intense, you're always welcome to drop down to your forearms. Breathe for 3. 2. Spread your collarbones. Take one more breath. Slowly lower your forearms down. Bring your forehead down. Stack your palms, forehead on that top palm. Bend your knees and windshield wiper your feet side to side. Legs are long behind you. Cactus, bend your right arm and roll onto your right shoulder, stepping your left foot behind. We often do this stretch with a straight arm. That would be a little bit less intense. But I would urge you to start with this cactus arm because you're actually working into different muscles. You're really stretching the front of your chest, your pecs. And so if it's too intense, just roll a little bit out of the shape and then pause there. And then when you're ready, you can start to roll back more. You don't always need to find the deepest expression right away. Just let the body soften into the shape. Maybe you push it a little further and maybe not. Unclench your jaw, relax your right cheek. Breathe for 3. Slow, deep breaths. 2. One more. And roll back onto your stomach and we'll switch. Left arm out to the left in a cactus shape to target your pec muscle. Roll onto your left shoulder. Maybe the right foot steps behind. Side 2 might feel entirely different. Don't force it to look the exact same. And remember, you don't have to go into the deepest variation right away or ever. The goal is the sensation, not the look of the pose. Keep your breath nice and full, complete cycles. Never restricting your airflow, restricting your breath. Last 3. Give me one more breath here. And roll back onto your stomach. Plant your hands in line with your ribs. Roll yourself through cobra pose to a child's pose. Take the knees wide, the big toes touch. You're always welcome to separate the feet or the knees more. Rest your forehead on the ground. Breathe so deeply that you feel your ribs expand into your thighs. Exhale, sink your tailbone back to your heels. Breathe so deeply you feel the back of your ribs rise. Exhale completely. Lift your forehead, thread your left arm underneath like thread the needle pose. You can rest your forehead on the ground or use your right forearm as a pillow. Keep sinking your hips back towards your heels. Soften your left palm. You should feel a nice stretch behind your left shoulder, so kind of the opposite of the poses that we just did on our bellies. Maybe give a little wiggle to your left fingers. We'll be here for 3. 2.
Last breath. Slowly start to release that and switch. The right arm goes underneath like thread the needle. You can use your left forearm as a pillow to make it more relaxing. Keep settling your hips back towards your heels. Feel the belly and the ribs expand into the thighs with every breath. You might even wiggle the right fingers. 3 more breaths. Slowly begin to unwind. Stretch your right arm forward as well. Keep the elbows down. Take prayer hands overhead. You can do prayer hands, or you can let one hand find your upper back and the other one on top. Feel a gentle stretch in your triceps. Follow the breath all the way in and all the way out. Last 2. Last 1. Reach your arms forward. Come up to a tabletop. Slide your right knee up behind your right wrist into pigeon pose, making your way down to your forearms. Maybe stacking the palms or the forearms to make a pillow for your forehead. If pigeon pose is too intense on your front knee, grab a seated figure 4 instead, or you could do another figure 4 on your back like the one we did in the beginning of class. You can always adjust by bringing that right foot a little bit back towards you to make this less intense. The goal is not to find the most intense version of the pose right away, especially in this style of class. You want to feel a stretch, but somewhere you can soften into. And over time, the intensity actually might build because we're holding it for a little bit longer than we would in, say, a vinyasa class. Notice points of tension in your body. These also, at least to me, are areas where it feels like the breath gets stuck. Can you imagine breathing space or breathing through that area? Dissolving those spaces of tension and resistance. When you notice you start to relax into the pose, just encourage you to do a quick body scan. Notice if there's anywhere else that you might be holding on to, like the palms, the forearms, the jaw, maybe even the throat, the back of the neck. Five more breaths. Last 2. Begin to walk your hands back towards you. Bump your left knee up a tad. Send your right leg back behind you, tuck your toes. Shift your weight forwards and backwards to stretch your right foot and calf. Then put your right knee down, find pigeon pose on the left side. Take your shin across the mat and then wiggle your right knee back, sinking your hips to the ground. Same options, or do something different. Try to mimic the sensation. So instead of making it look the exact same, find the similar intensity on side 2. And don't be surprised if side 2 does feel quite different. For most people, the left side's a bit tighter. Imagine breathing into or breathing through those spots of resistance. Can you imagine sending your breath all the way down the low back, into the left hip, all the way down into the left knee and the left ankle? Breathing out, releasing spaces of tension, muscle tightness, or soreness. Unclench your jaw, release your tongue. Soften between your eyes. Five more breaths here. Begin to walk your hands back. Wiggle your right knee up a bit. Straighten your left leg behind you. Tuck your toes. Shift your weight forwards and backwards a few times to stretch your calf muscle. Drop your left knee to the ground. Move your feet to one side. Extend your legs straight out in front of you. Option to bend your knees. Flex your feet gently. It's not the most intense flex, but some action. Reach up and fold over your legs. Relax the feet a little bit. Sometimes it feels nice to thread the arms underneath the knees, like you're giving yourself a nice big hug. That also helps to encourage a little bend in the knees, loosening or lessening the strain on the hamstrings. Breathe into your low back all the way to your tailbone. Take 3 more breaths. Begin to release your arms if they're underneath. Lie all the way down onto your back and take your legs straight up into waterfall pose. Put a little bend in the knees. Relax your feet and your ankles. Let your low back feel flat on the ground. You might also like to take the arms straight up and relax the fingers. Imagine any inflammation or tightness draining out of your feet, your ankles. Imagine that tension draining into your mat. Your mat is there to absorb all of those things from you, so you don't have to carry them with you any longer. Taking away spaces of resistance, anywhere you're still holding on. Spend 3 more breaths here in waterfall pose. And of course, you're welcome to stay a little bit longer, but whenever you're ready, begin to extend your feet towards the front corners of your mat. Take your arms out by your sides with the palms up. Wiggle the shoulder blades so they're flat underneath you, and let go. Let the points of contact you have with the mat help assist in softening your muscles. Let that release spread into all of the other muscles that are not touching the mat. And almost imagine any sort of resistance draining, sinking into the back of the body where you are touching the mat, and letting the mat absorb or soak up that resistance and tension for you. Removing it from your body, letting the muscles feel more relaxed, letting the muscles feel heavy, totally soft. Shavasana. Slowly begin to come back. Notice the fingers and the toes first. Give those a gentle wiggle. And then let that movement spread to the wrists, the ankles. Maybe bending your knees, taking your head side to side. Whenever you feel ready, stretch your arms overhead, extend your legs. Maybe take a yawn. Like that first big stretch of the morning, hopefully feeling a renewed, refreshed energy, or maybe a calm, peaceful energy that's washed over you. Hug your knees into your chest and roll to your right or left side. Keep the eyes closed as you make your way up to a seat. Sit up tall but relaxed. And take a moment just to be exactly where your body is. Imagine absorbing or soaking up this peace and calm that you've cultivated here on your mat. Bringing that into the rest of your evening, into your sleep, or maybe into the rest of your day, whatever that holds for you. Draw your hands to your heart center and take a deep breath in. Exhale. Namaste.
Thank you for choosing to practice with me. I hope you enjoyed this slower paced practice, more of a yin restorative style. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you back next week. Thank you for being a member on my channel, a subscriber, wherever you are. I appreciate you being here. Make sure you share my channel with your family and friends. That's the best way to support me, along with watching any ads that come in the beginning and the end. I obviously do not put ads in the middle of class, so I appreciate you watching the ones in the beginning and the end. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day.